Welcome to the Get Loved Up podcast. I'm Koya Webb, founder of Get Loved Up, where we inspire you to love yourself more, love others more, and love the planet more. Each week, I'll interview a special guest who will share their insights on how they practice daily self-care, tackle tough challenges in life, and thrive in the world one breath at a time. You will be inspired to take control of your life as you heal yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically, and create a reality in alignment with your deepest passions. Let's get loved up. Everybody's searching for something to fill that empty space. Kurtis, so welcome to the Get Loved Up podcast. It is so good to have you here.
Koya, thank you for having me. I'm excited. Cool stuff to talk about.
So much to talk about. And I mean, one of the things that I love and one of the things that I remember the most is, number one, you have a very, very strong presence. Like, you are seen wherever you go. You definitely command attention, and you definitely light up the room with your spirit and with your energy. And I remember very vividly the first time I got to experience your work was at a friend's, it was like a day retreat with my friend Arzu, and you did this amazing breathwork session. And I was in tears. And when I came out, I had children hugging me around me. And it was the most magical experience. I wasn't even prepared for. I wasn't even going to necessarily do the breath work because I was also teaching that day. But I was like, I just deserve this. And I gave it to myself, and I went all the way in. And so I know we're going to dive into a lot with breath work, but I want to start with, how did you get into breathwork? Because you do a lot. You do life coaching. You are a major manifester. You do a lot when it comes to holistic health and wellness. But I specifically want to talk about breathwork.
Okay, so how did, first of all, thank you for all of that. That was like so much love right there. So I appreciate that. And we are mirrors of one another. So how you feel about me and what you recognize in me is what I see in you and what you see in yourself. So it's beautiful. So thank you for that. I think, along the journey, because you asked, how did I get into it? Pain. There's two very big motivators in life, and one is pain and one is pleasure. And one of them's a little bit stronger of a nudger than another one. And they say, if God wants you to be a healer, then be prepared to get broken. And that's what happened. Along my spiritual journey, I had some health conditions and anxiety and panic attacks and all this stuff while I was, getting all this, new information. Right. And, I became a certified life coach and all that stuff, but it wasn't until I had my first breathwork session myself on a stomach condition that doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong with me. And it was maddening. Like, I had this weird pain sensation in my stomach, and the doctors were telling me, like, they're testing me 1, 2, 3 times for something, and I'm begging them to. And the doctor told me one day, he's like, Kurtis, we tested you for everything. You're actually healthier than I am. And it wasn't until I took my first breathwork that I had a person right next to me. She was like a 90-pound-year-old lady. And I had this NFL football player, like 6'5" jack dude. 5 minutes in, the girl starts crying. Now, the instructor didn't explain it, like I tried to explain in the beginning for everybody. And then 15 minutes later, the big dude starts bawling. And then I'm like, why is everybody? And I start bawling. I start crying. And it wasn't until I got home the next morning, I went to bed that night and I woke up and my stomach pain was gone. And I realized right then why Western medicine, why doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong with me. And it's because my issue wasn't physical. It was emotional. It was energetic. And we're not taught how to heal emotionally. Like, even, with the NLP and the hypnotherapy and all these like cool certifications and modalities and Reiki mastery, I still didn't know how to heal myself emotionally. I didn't know how to deal with my own trauma and get really deep. And breathwork was the secret sauce for me. I was like, okay, this is it. The results, as you know, are immediate. They're undeniable. Like you laugh, you cry, it's like, it's the most profound thing besides like, drinking a gallon of ayahuasca. So it's like, all right, cool. I'm going to lead with this. I want to share this with the world. They need to experience this.
That is amazing. And I 100% agree. Breath work was it for me, especially when, like you said, healing emotional trauma. So let's dive a little bit into that a little bit. How do you feel that breath work is able to energetically help people release trauma? Because I know a lot of people, they don't believe it. They're like, yeah, I cried, but and so can you explain a little bit, because I know you've written a book and you do this worldwide. Can you explain a little bit how energetically this is possible?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that people need to know, the foundational information, is that we store trauma in the body. The issues are in the tissues. So what happens is when we're younger, 4 years old, that was what I was healing from actually that day, was something that I didn't even know that happened at 4 or 5 years old. And at a young age, we don't have the emotional intelligence and the emotional capacity to process emotions, right? And we normally would, but what happens is they get compounded. Stuff comes in, we can't process it, more stuff comes in, more craps comes in, and the body, the psyche needs to do something with it, so it stores it. And that's why, like, when people are going through something, whether it's a man or a woman, when they're going through tough times and they're stressed, we hide a lot of our emotions in our belly and in our hips. So the first place people gain weight when they're going through something is the belly and the hips. And we do that on a subconscious level to hide our emotions. We'll grow extra fat because we don't want anyone seeing our vulnerability, right? So when we have this trauma that's stored in the body, no matter where it is, when you start breathing, this specific breathing technique, it cleanses those emotional channels. So without getting too heady, but this is a really good way that clicked in my mind. And I was like, oh, okay. So we all understand that we have blood that runs through our body, right? And we know that blood is distributed through veins. Well, we all agree we have some form of energy, whether that's chi, prana, whatever you want to call it. But how does that get distributed through our body? It gets distributed through something called nadis. So we have 72,000 of these nadis, energetic highways that run through our body. And there's one place in the body where it's the Times Square, where all these energetic highways intersect, and that is the stomach. So when you start breathing in the stomach, most people aren't breathing in their stomach. If you got a room full of 100 people, and I think we did this that day, and you told everyone, put one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest, and on the count of 3, everyone take a deep breath, you'd see everyone do this. All this moves, right? And their belly doesn't even move. And that is actually called, we want to do diaphragmatic breathing, but that's actually the opposite. And if you ever watch a fish or a baby breathe, watch a baby breathe. You see their bellies go up first, right? But we get all this stress and trauma stuck in our multiple diaphragms that we can't breathe into our stomach, which is our emotional center. That is where all the chi, our energy is the only place where it's not just stored, but it's cultivated as well. And if you don't have your old stagnant energy out, then you can't have new energy in. And this is where a lot of fatigue and all that stuff comes into. So when you start doing the breathwork detox, you start breathing into those centers, and those pranic channels, those energetic highways are what cleanses the emotional body. That's why you start crying. And all crying is, it's a huge emotional release. That's all it is. It's a huge emotional, like when people cry, it's like, I'm like, congratulations. Like you got some work done today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like to tell people, as I teach the breath, as well, like when we cry as baby, it's usually, we're doing the same breath that we're teaching to heal trauma. So we already know it intuitively, like you said, as babies, we just have to remember that one, we're not too strong to cry and there's nothing wrong to crying. And crying is actually, like you said, is healing, it's therapy.
Yeah, it's cleansing. And I mean the danger in not crying, in keeping stuff inside of us. There was a study, done by Dr. Suzuki. He was a zoologist. He had his PhD at the time. He was the head of the genetics department in British Columbia University. And he did this study where he took the condensed molecules of the verbal expression of anger, jealousy, and rage. And just for an hour, those energies accumulated enough to kill 80 guinea pigs. And that's just from, the anger. And when we choose to bite our tongue, right? It hurts when we bite our tongue, but we truly need to speak up sometimes and get this stuff out because, if a lack of expression creates depression, and all unexpressed love turns to pain. So if we don't express ourselves, whether it's the good, whether it's just getting stuff out of us, that anger, that jealousy, that rage that has the potency to kill 80 guinea pigs, it manifests in us and it creates all these issues. I love what Woody Harrelson said. He said, "I don't get mad. I just grow a tumor." And like, seriously, it's like, like in my mind, I sit here and like, you wonder why someone like Steve Jobs has all the money in the world, the best money of the minds. He could buy any mind out there, the greatest technology. How could somebody so rich and powerful with all these resources allow himself to die of cancer in this, in this day and age? And I like to tell people is like, I don't care how much money you have in your bank account. I don't care how many green juices you drink. If you are holding on to the toxic energies of guilt, shame, regret, or anger, it's a death wish. And
that is so powerful. I mean, lack of expression causes depression. I think people just need to understand and sit with that, whether they're writing it down, singing, dancing, but I 100% agree with you. And I wanted to also know, like, what are some of the ways that you would recommend, and what are the ways that you actually work at expressing yourself? Because like you said, you dealt with anxiety, you held all this energy in your stomach. So what are the things, in addition to the breath work, or was the breath all you needed to do? Or were there other things that you did to help you kind of, work through your own trauma?
This right here, being able to share my story, my, my pain, my triumphs, cause all wisdom is healed pain. So, that's the point where I'm at is like, I want to be like, what I value in other people is authenticity, like not money, success is, it's great when I see someone who's successful, it does mean something to me. But when I see authenticity, that's like, ooh, I like that. So when I'm able to share my story without shame and, own my insecurities and wear them like armor, nobody can ever, hurt you or hold something against you that you've accepted about yourself. So doing things like this helps me. Journaling, journaling is the most underrated thing out there. It's simple. You can do it anytime. And there's other kind of buzzwords and things that we do and, prayer. But as far as like, we're from LA, right? We met in LA. It's like people in LA, we work out. We want to see that muscle. We want to see that muscle fast, right? So like the good thing about breathwork is like the results are immediate and undeniable. And once you feel the most amazing emotion that I love is progress. Once you feel progress and you feel momentum, it's like you want to do more, and that's kind of, it's been my secret sauce.
Oh, that's amazing. I agree. It's such a secret sauce. And So are you teaching classes virtually now? Do you host classes virtually, or how do you still share with people the power of breath work?
Yep. So so I switched from live and we're doing everything Zoom. Well, I won't say everything, like 90%, because I'm still doing retreats and stuff like that. But yeah, Zoom, we're doing everything virtual live adventures, and they're just as powerful, sometimes even more powerful, because and I was really skeptical in the whole COVID stuff, and I was like, no, like, just being in the energy of people who all share the common denominator of wanting to transform their life. Like, I just got goosebumps just thinking about that. Like, I miss that so much. So I was like, this whole Zoom stuff and like not being able to do what I do. And surprisingly, the Zoom sessions are just as impactful, sometimes more impactful, because when people are in the comfort of their own space, their own safe space, without worrying about judgment from other people, they're able to release more. They're able to let go more. So it's been a blessing. Seriously, it's been a blessing being able to do this from anywhere in the world.
I am so happy you said that, because so many people, that's what I tell people all the time. And so many people like, no, Zoom is not the same. But for that one fact that people don't understand, unless you're a teacher and you understand that people need to feel safe, and let you, like you mentioned before, we store a lot of emotions in our hips and our stomach, or our hips, because that's our root chakra. That's our feeling of safety and security. So the beautiful thing about people being in the comfort of their own home is they feel safe. They don't feel judged. They don't feel like they can't cry, yell, and all the things that you instruct people to do. So I 100% believe you and agree from what I've seen that it actually can be more impactful. So if you're listening out there and you've never tried breath work, or you've never tried some of these things that you feel like are airy fairy or are hoaxy, this is the perfect time to sneak in a class and do it. Nobody knows. You don't have to tell anybody. Just sneak right on in that class and get your entire life, because that's what happened to me. As a Southern girl, I didn't know about all of these modalities and the power, but I've experienced so much, and it has changed my life so much. And like you said, it's the secret sauce. So can you share a little bit about why you decided, not only just having the practice for yourself, but what made you decide to become a breathwork practitioner?
Well, I was already taking, executives and CEOs to the jungles of Peru to heal with ayahuasca. And I guess just my soul, I'm always searching for the deepest, most profound things that's going to change someone's life. And, and I was already, life coach, NLP, hypnotherapy, Reiki master. And like those things really didn't excite me. I'm just being honest. Like, and when I got involved with them, I was actually doing it for a very selfish reason. I was trying to heal myself. I was trying to heal my crazy mind. I was trying to heal my body. I was just doing it for myself, to heal myself. And along the way, I was just collecting these certifications. And once I came across breath work, and I realized, oh, this is why I did all that stuff, because I found the one modality where I was able to be a life coach, use NLP, hypnotherapy, and also music. Oh my God, I love music. Like, I love music. Like, I knew I was never gonna be a DJ, but like the integration of the music into the breath work, and the music opening up certain emotional centers and allowing people to heal. It's so important. It's such a big part of the process, because, it's like music's a portal. It truly is. And sometimes you have to feel it to heal it. Which is why, like, if you ever, notice when we go through a bad breakup, right? Why we want to listen to sad music. It's like, why you just got in a breakup? Why are you listening to, that Phil Collins or whatever the heck it is, It's like, we do that on purpose, because we need that. Because when we're going through emotions, it's very easy to create the shell, pretend you're fine, and continue through life. But it's actually the soul's way of allowing you to feel that emotion, go deep into that emotion, lean into it, surrender to that emotion. And that's actually how you heal. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's just, I'm living my dream. I really am. And I'm so blessed.
You have all these beautiful nuggets. You got to feel it to heal it. Like we say the same thing. You got the issues in your tissues. And it's so true. You have to feel it. And a lot of times we're afraid to feel. We're afraid to take off the mask. We're afraid to be vulnerable. But like, as you said, that music, it gets us down. With someone, they're like, they were singing exactly how I was feeling. And I think that's the power of music. These artists are not afraid to express that raw, gritty truth that you might not even be able to say or write, or maybe you don't even know until you burst out crying when that line hits and you realize, oh yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And I feel like, to go back to what you said at first, it helps people express, even if someone else is expressing it, it helps them relate, almost like, that collective nurturing type of therapy where you just sit together and you share your problems and you talk about what's going on with you. It's so important. As you also mentioned, it's the conversation, and whether that's in home with your favorite sad song, you're having a connection with that artist, whoever put that song out, to say, I'm not in this alone. And I think so many times, especially with us spending more time at home, people feel alone. So for those people who feel like, suicide rates are at an all-time high, there's a lot of people with family members who think differently and act differently and live differently, all under one roof. So what are some suggestions? I don't know if you want to take us through like a mini little breath, or you can do a simulated practice for people just listening right now saying, you know what, I need this in my life.
So like a little breath hack, you mean? Give them a breath hack?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something they can practice.
Yeah, so I'll give them something better. So the breathwork detox, the one that, is pretty much like you're going on a journey. You're getting in a ride, you're strapping yourself in, and it's a journey. It's a beautiful journey with a beautiful destination. But there is the most overlooked breath hack that I'd like to share with people, and I'll give you this tool, and it's called the sigh. It is, and I'm telling you, I'm not the only one. There's Dan Brule, who's been a breath coach for almost as long as I've been alive. He said if I could choose one breath hack, it's the sigh. And the reason is because why does the body sigh? Like it's actually a natural response to relieve stress and pain from the body. That's why we sigh, like something crazy happens and we go to get that stuff out of us. The same way a gazelle or a zebra, if they're getting chased by a lion in the wild, if they get away, if they're lucky enough to get away, the first thing they do is they shake it off, because you have to get that trauma out of your body, and the sooner the better, so it doesn't manifest. So when you have a stressful day, you have to get that stress out of your body. You have to kill the monsters while they're small. Because if you allow stress to grow into a bigger monster, that monster becomes anxiety. And if you allow that monster and you continue to feed it, that evolves and grows into panic attacks, depression, suicide. So you have to kill the monsters while they're small. So, manage your stress. And the easiest breath hack is I'll go into my body. And this strengthens your body awareness and expands your consciousness, because most people aren't connected to their bodies. So wherever you're feeling it, let's say in the solar plexus or the heart, a lot of people feel it there. Stomach was for me. You close your eyes, you say, where am I holding stress? Where do I feel discomfort? Where do I feel pain? And wherever that is, you breathe into it, either through your nose or your mouth. I like to do the nose, and you breathe out through the mouth. So it's in my stomach right now. Okay, here we go. My stomach's expanding. Loud, obnoxious sigh. If it's not loud and obnoxious, then you didn't do it right.
I love that. So just deep inhale through the nose.
Let out. Do 3 of those, and you'll feel that energy of whatever it was. It'll shift a little bit. It'll shift.
I felt the release just then. I love it. I feel like that sighing, yawning, laughing, some of the things we feel like, oh, we need to be more mindful not to do that. Maybe you are mindful in public, but especially when you get in the comfort of your home, like going through all of the emotions and just really allowing yourself to feel. That's what I love. I feel like we are on the same page with just acknowledging all of your feelings. And I know you deal a lot with people going through grief as well. Can you talk a little bit more about the importance of allowing yourself? Because I know we said, we're talking about getting it out as soon as possible, but I know there are certain stages. So can you talk a little bit about like the different stages of grief and how, one can transition and work, like you said, over time? It took you a while. It wasn't just like this transformation happened overnight.
Yeah, well, it's like the universe had to bop me on the head a few times, because before the stomach problems, before the spiritual journey, there was a time in my life, Murphy's Law. My house caught on fire. I lost my house. I lost my brother. I lost my job. I mean, you name it, the quintessential story. And I had my first panic attack. And my God, those are the most scariest things in the world. Like, you feel like you're going to die. Like, I had a gun pointed at me before. Having a panic attack is way scarier than thinking you're about to die, because you really feel like you're going to die. So, my panic attacks were so bad. Just to paint the picture in case anyone out there, has stress or anxiety and they're not doing anything about it now, to be able to work with that now, is so important, because my panic attacks got so bad that I was living in the basement of my mom's house, and because my house burned down, and I had a bell on the counter. And when I was having a panic attack, my throat would close up and I couldn't breathe or scream. So I had to ring the bell so my mom would hear it from upstairs and come downstairs and literally comfort me. And this is a grown man. I'm a grown man at this point, and it is disabilitating. I mean, 5 years ago, the World Health Organization stated that anxiety and depression would be the #1 disabilities worldwide. It's 2020. It's fully manifested. That was pre-COVID. Now that we have COVID, I can't imagine what people are going through now. So, the doctor told me when I was taking a triple the dose I was supposed to be taking for the anxiety. And she actually taught me a breathing exercise, and that completely eradicated my panic attacks. And you'd think I'd become a breathwork coach then. No, I still didn't get it. And if people at home want to research it, it's called straw breathing. So you just pretend you have a straw in your mouth and you breathe regular. You don't push it out. You don't suck it in too hard. You just breathe absolutely regular through the straw. It regulates the perfect amount of airflow to trigger something in the brain. And I'm telling you, I was taking triple the amount of prescription medication. And I did this one breathing exercise at 2:00 in the morning in the middle of a panic attack when my mom wasn't hearing the bell. And I just heard the doctor tell me to do this because when she told me, she said, "Kurtis, if you keep taking these pills the way that you're on a dark path." And it just sunk in. And I did that breathing exercise, and I haven't had a panic attack since. And yeah, people we are fully equipped. We are fully equipped with everything that we need. Like, we have it.
It's your time to step into your full power and potential. Are you tired of playing small and ready to make a big difference in the world? If your answer is yes, then the Wellness Entrepreneur Mastermind is for you. This mastermind will give you all the tools you need to turn your passion into purpose and live from a space of abundance as you let go of your limiting beliefs and negative self-talk. We coach you to thrive 1 week at a time, one goal at a time. We teach you what's working right now and what's not, so you can position yourself as a community leader and create real change in the world. If you're ready to level up and stand in your power, then go to koyawebb.com/mastermind to join our next group of wellness entrepreneurs. Space is limited and your time is now, so don't delay. Make a difference today.
We are fully equipped. And I just did an event this weekend, and I said, you come in to this human experience with the breath. And the breath is your healer. The breath is your friend. The breath is all you need. There's all these crystals and essentials, all these things that can bring nature to us and help us. But the number one best friend, tool, and healer is the breath, the thing that we don't no longer need, the thing that's free. And I just feel like you're just like, it's the breath. That's the secret. That's the secret sauce, is the breath. I love, love, love it. And thanks for sharing that story, because I know that when you have it all, and then like you said, things shift. And a lot of people right now, it's how do you manage that shift? How do you manage living, going from, being successful to living at home, losing everything? So can you share after how you built yourself back up after you got the breath work and you started doing the breath work? How did you build yourself back up from that point?
Well, when I was rock bottom, I called that rock bottom when the brother and the panic attacks, that was over 10 years ago. But I will say rock bottom will teach you more than mountaintops ever will. I learned a lot about myself, and when you're at rock bottom, you get to see your roots. So, and I didn't think I was ever going to make it out. I was in such a lower state of consciousness and survival thinking that I couldn't even see how I got myself out. And, I did, you slowly build yourself back up. And even with the breath work, I was already going, pretty hard. I was able to kind of function, like, you have functioning alcoholics.
Yes.
I was a functioning, stressed out, anxiety, panic attacked, 10% depressed type of personal development, like coach, like that's what I was. And now, like, kind of looking back in hindsight, where I kind of came out of that, it's like you value those experiences because, as a coach and as a healer, it gives you more power working with people. You're really able to understand people and what they're going through, because compassion, man, I think compassion is so huge in the work that we do, because I can see someone struggling, going through something, and I feel for them. I have compassion. It makes me want to help them because I look at them as the old me. And when you can see yourself in other people, you start to evolve in a way that is much different than you have in the past.
Absolutely. It gives you much more perspective. And I feel like when you haven't been there, if you've never had challenges or problems, sometimes you can't relate. So you having that relatability of being in that dark place and going through those experiences, I think it definitely does allow you to empathize with people more and not just be like, get over it. You understand that, you can't just get over it. And with the snap of a finger, it takes time, and it's a journey. It's an ongoing journey, because I do believe we all, as we move through this life together, are experiencing different levels of, disconnection from love, from source, from compassion, if you will. And I feel like in the sense of oneness, like we're experiencing this all the time. So can you talk a little bit about how you feel about spirit or God or what governs the earth, and how you use that in your teaching and practices?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I had someone on Instagram, it doesn't happen often, but was suicidal. Literally told me they're suicidal, and I was like, "Whoa, it's a big responsibility too." But they were like, "How do you do it?" And I literally sat there like, how do you have faith? How do you have? I was like, "Shit, how do I do this?" Like, I was really thought about it. I was like, "They're like, don't you go crazy like with all the stuff that's going on and learning all this spiritual stuff?" And I think some people who are far along on the spiritual path, we can easily forget that when we started to awaken and come into our power, the universe will initiate you. You will get tested, you will get poked to make sure that you have tough skin, right? And for me, just knowing, I mean, you have to. I mean, I don't know if you have to, but for me, like, faith in a higher power, that there's somebody always watching, that everything truly happens for a reason. There is meaning to everything. There are no coincidences, right? And to have unwavering faith that everything is going to turn out for the better. In the end, it's always going to turn out for the better. And if it's not, then it's not the end. Like, that's how I look at it, and, establishing your relationship to source. And it doesn't really matter who or what you think that is, whether it's a person's name, whether it's the sun, whether it's an energy, whether it's the emotion of love, whatever it is, you need to be connected to something higher and more powerful than you. And that's my opinion.
Right.
I think
that's beautiful, because I feel like a lot of times when people have a trauma relationship with religion, or they experienced trauma around religion and the church, it sometimes separates them, if you will, from source, which of course you can never separate from source. We are source, but one can feel separation and feel unconnected. And I feel like the beautiful thing that you said is that, you have to, whether you believe it or not, it's there, and so the sooner that you can just acknowledge that energy, that power, that connection, the sooner you can like really become in alignment with who you truly are and why you're truly here. I think that is just so powerful. And I want to talk a little bit about your book, because I know that you're a teacher, but I think one of the most beautiful things in the world is having a book and being able to share that with people, especially right now, who maybe they can't get to your online classes and things like that. But can you talk a little bit about your book and what inspired you to write it?
The first book, or the one that I just came out with?
Oh, I didn't know you had a recent one. The one that you gave me.
The one. Okay.
We'll talk about that one first, and then I need to hear about your new one, because I don't have a copy.
Okay, I got you.
I feel slighted.
So the one that I gave you, that's my baby. That's how it all started. My greatest work is in there, and really, it's a documentation that really articulates the process that every single soul on the planet is going through. And this is why so many people can relate to it, is because that book isn't really about one thing. Like, people who read The World Is Yours, The Secrets Behind the Secret, it's not about just the law of attraction or the remaining laws of the universe. The beginning of the book, it really has people step into their power and says, hey, listen, these are your innate natural gifts and abilities. Here's what they are, whether that's, manifesting, the power of visualization, thought. And then we go into the laws of the universe, which govern this planet, law of compensation, and whatnot, law of cause and effect. But letting them know, these are your powers. And then that's the first half of the book. The second half of the book goes into, now here's why you weren't taught your powers. Here's what has been being hidden from you. Here's why there's $3 billion spent every single day to keep you asleep. So what secret is so valuable that's worth $3 billion to keep you asleep? That's something you should want to find out. Because we've been watered down, we've been dumbed down, and you don't have to be religious, but there is, we are in biblical times. It's clear as day right now, and, we have many gifts and abilities, and everyone is really stepping into their power. And once you learn about the truth of, cosmic origins and ascension and what is everything's playing up to, you'll never have a boring day on this planet ever again, because the thing that's going to unfold in these next coming years, 2020 kicked it off. More people woke up in 2020. Yeah, it's hard times, but more people woke up, more consciousness has raised, more people are stepping into their power now more than ever. And this is only going to exponentially grow in these next couple years, especially 2021. So, I mean, I'm excited. This it actually excites me.
I'm excited too. Agreed. It is time. And like you said earlier, most people hold like negative energy in their stomach, and that's the solar plexus, which is all about standing in your power. And so, but if people don't know their power and they're not breathing into their stomach, and then I clearing the energies that make you feel like, oh, you can't express your power and you're less than. That's really why that energy is so stuck. And that's really why it's so important to do the breath work pretty much every single day. I don't know how often you do, but I now do breath work every single day because I want to make sure that I'm clear, because I'm watching the news, unfortunately. I'm getting the downloads from social media all the time. And so when media instills fear in me, which I know is not helping me stand in my power and not helping me know the truth, going back to the breath, going back to spirit is what helps me remember every single time. So thank you so much for that book. I absolutely love it. And now let's talk about your new book that I need a copy. I need a signed copy of.
Yeah. So the new one is it's called Breathwork Detox: How to Thrive in the Age of Anxiety. Okay. And it's pretty much a lot of the conversation that we've been having. You know, after I wrote the first book, and you know, it was pretty successful. I got it in Oprah's hands, and, you know, Steve Forbes and Kim and Kanye and like some, you know, Tony Robbins, like some of my idols growing up, was able to get my book. So I was like, now that this book is written, and I felt like, okay, it has its legs, it's on its own, and listening to people's feedback as well. Cause like sometimes this happens, and I'm sure you can agree, you know, people wake up and they wake up and you wake them up, you turn their light on. Now their light's on. They're like, well, now what do I do? You know, they got all this stuff that they can see, because when your light goes on, you begin to become more self-aware. So it can seem like things are getting worse, but really they're not. You just have a magnifying glass under your life now. And this is how you grow, you evolve, you shed, you detox. And I felt like, you know, this is the tool that they need. They needed a tool. Like can't just wake someone up and say, okay, good luck. You know, I was like, I felt obligated to be like, I got to create a tool for them. So this book is the tool. If you have stress, if anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and you're looking for hacks and tools and resources, like this is the book. And eventually I'm going to give this book away for free. I'm not there right now, but that's the goal of this. I'm going to end up giving it away for free.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And I think at this time, that's what people need. I definitely, with my book, Let Your Fears Make You Fierce, I'm giving people free digital copies because people need it. People need it to heal. So that's very big of you. That's very, very bold of you to just offer your service, offer your knowledge out there for people so people can heal. Because like you said, anxiety and depression is at an all-time high. And we need to know that we have the power within us, no matter where you are. If you're listening to this, you have the power within you. You have your breath. If you have your breath, you have a way to heal. Period. And I cannot wait to read your newest book. And as we kind of come to the end, I really want to, one of the most asked questions that I get is, how long does it take, you know, if I start doing these breathwork exercises, how long does it take for me to feel, for it to work, for me to feel like I don't want to commit suicide, or for me to stop having anxiety, or to get off of these pills? And I know for you, it was instant, but do you have any inspiring words for people who are like, yeah, I'm in a really dark place right now. How long will this take to work?
You know, I wish I could answer that. And, you know, I'm really skeptical when it comes to giving people projections like that, because, I noticed that when you give it, like some people, when you're in that space, because I've been there, you become so desperate that when you find someone who you feel could help you, and they tell you, listen, man, you give this thing 2 weeks, and 2 weeks is going to be it. And they're like, you know what, I'm going to give it 2 weeks. And they give it 2 weeks. And now people are already set in that state, in that mind state, right? Mm-hmm. In that level of consciousness. That is when you are at capacity for self-sabotage. Mm. So what you can actually do is kind of half-ass it and not give it your all, just to prove to yourself at those 2 weeks, see, I tried everything, it didn't work, I'm done. And I don't know where people are at. So it could be as soon as one day, you know, and it could be, you know, as long as when you're ready to, you know, give it your all and face yourself and heal, because there's always a way out. There's always a way out, and as we learn, sometimes, most of the time, the way out is in, and inward is not a direction, it's a dimension. So when you go internally and really see what's going on and able to get things out of you that don't serve your highest and greatest good, that is the whole premise, the basis of breathwork detox. Because I became infatuated with manifesting. Yeah, I just want to manifest. I want all these great things that I like. But I realized we cannot fill our hands with something we're already holding on to. You can't fill the cup if you already have stuff in it. And, we all want to let all these amazing things in, but first we need to let go. We need to let go of this crap. A plane cannot take off or land on the runway if something is there. So it just circles around until it's cleared. So right now, your vortex, you're circling because there's things in your life you need to remove. And I don't care if it's people, places, situations, habits, there's things in your life that need to get removed. And until you remove those things, what you want, they're blocking the things that you want. So I kind of shifted how I look at manifestation because I believe we all know how to manifest. I mean, it's natural. We are manifesting right this second. People watching, they are manifesting. You don't have to learn how, you're doing it. It's good to be conscious of it, to know that, your thoughts, your intentions, and your emotions are what manifests for you naturally. So the two areas people sabotage their manifestations is they spend more time focusing on the things that they don't want rather than the things that they do want. Mm-hmm. And even if it's 50-50, like, okay, 50%, I want this, you're journaling, you're doing all that stuff, but yet you're worrying about, well, what if this doesn't happen? If it's 50-50, you cancel yourself out. You don't manifest anything.
That's the math.
Right, that's the math. And the other thing is when you're holding on to junk, and sometimes the weight that you need to lose, isn't in your body. You really, it's emotional. It's it's bad. It's old, outdated thoughts. It's and that's from the detox. That's the work, the energy work that we do, and the breath work and the yoga and all this stuff. So yeah, man, let go before you let in.
I love it. Yes. The way out is in. I love that. And I just love that you've given us so many tools that we can use right now, today. Go within, remove all the junk, remove the guilt, remove the shame, remove the judgment, and make room for the blessing, make room for the manifestations. And I love that you kind of naturally went into manifesting because that's what people are thinking, like, how not going outside and how with everything shut out, how am I to manifest anything when there's so many restrictions?
They're already manifesting. They just manifest in the things that they don't want because it's what they're focused on the most. And it's hard to get somebody and say, hey, think better. It's like, what? Like, it's like, or think more happy thoughts. It's like, that stuff is so hard. So, the breath work is the thing, like I call it, it's like meditation on steroids. And I think, honestly, Koya, I think meditation is an advanced practice. Because if you try to get the majority of the world, we already established, you try to get these people to sit down when they're already stressed out, sit still and think one thought for 20 minutes, they're going to go more crazy and more insane. And they're going to be like, this sucks. This doesn't work. But if you say, lay down, do this breathing, and they're feeling it and they're working through it and they're pushing the thoughts out instead of having them calm down and settle like a lake, they become more empowered, So
absolutely. I think that's really profound because it is so many ways to connect and to heal. But like you said, if it's hard for you to be still, there are other modalities. You don't have to force yourself. The breath work gives you something to do. Guided meditation gives you something to do so you don't feel like you're not doing it right. And one thing I love about breath work is that you will feel it. Like you can't really deny what is happening. And something else when you were speaking came up because I was asking you about when, and what came up when you were speaking is that the more that you put in, the more that you put into it, the more you're going to get out. So if you're, like you said, half doing it, then maybe you might not receive as great results. But if you go in and you do the work and you do the journal and you commit it and you want it, you don't want to prove that it's wrong. If you go in trying to prove that it's wrong, then you're right. It could be wrong. But if you go in saying, I'm going to 100% commit to my evolution, my healing, my journey, you give yourself more of a chance than if you're doubting. That the whole counseling itself out, like we definitely need a meme on that, just like showing because it's so true. So we're gonna end with a little rapid fire.
Oh God.
And I love these because it just puts you on the spot, but we want your real answers.
Okay.
So what's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite book?
Outwitting the Devil.
Ooh, what's your favorite Netflix show or show to watch during this time?
Oh, Once Upon a Time.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Okay.
You wanna understand past lives and parallel realities? Watch that show. Okay.
Okay, putting it on my list. What is your favorite hobby or pastime?
Hobby or pastime? I like hiking right now for some reason, and bike riding.
Nice. Getting outside in nature. That's amazing. What is your favorite podcast?
I like Joe Rogan.
Okay. Who is your favorite thought leader?
Tony Robbins.
Okay. And let's see, if you could wake up and create the world that you wanted to live in, what would it look like?
Wakanda.
Woo! Yes, we're just gonna end on that one. That was so amazing. I appreciate you so much, just answering all these questions and just sharing with the Get Loved Up community who you are and how you're blessing the world right now. So I just want to give you some time to share with what you're offering the world right now virtually, and what people can look forward to when they come to your website.
Yeah, so if people want to find me, they can go to manfromthestars.com, or they can go to my Instagram page, which is at manfromthestars. And there you'll find, in my link tree in the bio, you'll see everything that I do, which I don't want to go into right now. You can go there and choose, but the thing that I feel like is the most valuable thing that I can offer, the viewers is, come to One Breathwork, come learn it, see what it's like, see what it's about, see what the heck we're talking about. And then now you're going to have another tool in your toolbox, that you can have, that you can share with the family. And the books are good too, they're tools you choose, wherever you're at, but for an experience, I want to give people an experience, come hang out at an event.
Well, I know I'm going to be at one, and I definitely vouch for your breathwork sessions because that was one of my favorite breathwork experiences, was with you. And I actually went on to get my certification. That's how much it moved me. I was like, you know what? And it has changed my life, has helped me deal with trauma. Even during this time, I had, a little PTSD from a childhood experience with my brother and police brutality. And I was in a really dark place for like 3 days. And I just went in on the breath work. I was doing it 3 times a day. And it really helped me because I was in the middle of a yoga teacher training. And I just say that because it doesn't, and like you expressed as well, you can be a healer, you can be doing the work. It doesn't mean you're never going to experience trauma again. Doesn't mean you're never going to have a dark time or a dark thought, but we have this beautiful tool that you can go to anytime and get back in alignment with your purpose and who you truly are. And that's what I found in breathwork. And I just want to thank you so much for leading such a powerful class to help me find the tool that has really blessed my life.
Thank you so much. And, I have to say this, that when I was at the airport and in my peripheral vision, I look and I seen a magazine that had a lady that looked like you. And I look down and I zoom in and I grab it, and it was you. And you were on the cover of the magazine in one of the biggest airports in the world. And I'm sitting here looking at you, and I kid you not, like I felt like you were my sister. You were my mother, my whatever. I had so much joy and compassion when I seen that. I got so excited. I text you right away. And like I'm so proud of you for everything that you've accomplished and where you're at right now, and your drive. Like it's admirable. And I just want to say thank you for having me, and keep doing what you're doing, and we'll be working together more in the near future.
We will be. This is, like you said, it's divine alignment. Everything happens for a reason, because that's when I realized, why haven't I had him on the podcast, and did it right away. So I cannot wait to, because I know that you are my spiritual brother, and I cannot wait to do more together. And what you have is such a gift that I definitely want everyone to know about. So this podcast, people get to experience you, and y'all check out a class. If it's just sneak into that one class, when no one's watching, have some time to yourself and just bless yourself with one of his classes, because I don't think you'll regret it. I know I didn't regret it, and I highly recommend it. So until next time, you all, thank you so much for tuning in here every single week. Thank you so much for your reviews. If you have not yet left a review, please leave a review. Let me know how much you love this episode. Tag me, tag Kurtis, and reach out to us on media. We love answering questions. I answer all of my DMs. I know Kurtis does too. So just reach out. Know you're not alone in this. We're here to help each other. We're here to help you. And I can't wait to see you soon. Until next time, get loved up, love yourself, love others, and love the world, one day at a time, one breath at a time. Peace and love.
I just want to take a moment to say thank you for being part of the Get Loved Up community. I like to share topics and people making a positive impact in the world, and your feedback means the world to me. If you haven't already left a review, please leave a 5-star review and let me know what you want to hear more of on the show. I'm here for you, and together we're making the world a better place, one day at a time, one show at a time. Thank you for listening.